Good evening. This is Stan Matthews here at the eLife Studio in Capitol Heights, Maryland. And we are here tonight to once again share with you our thoughts about living a dream life. So many people have lives of frustration. They have lives of confusion, but they don't have lives of achievement. Here in the studio, Mr. Producer, Mr. Eladio, and Dr. Pryor, my partner, were talking just before we went live about people graduating with doctorates and yet not having a life of satisfaction. So the Dream Life broadcast is my thought process and my conception of sharing what I've learned in the last 32 years as a professional and what Dr. Pryor has practiced in his own life coaching practice to try to help you live your dream life. About 40 years ago, in August of 1968, a man with the last name King had a dream, right? And he talked about what this nation would be under his dream and how it would judge, not by the color of skin, but by the content of character, that his children would grow up in that world and they would live their dream life. Very soon after that speech, people started talking about the American dream. And so the thought was that children would always do better than their parents. Now today you have children with PhDs and masters living in the basement, the attic, or right on the same floor that parents who don't have any of those degrees. The American dream has become, for some, something not attainable, and a certain amount of frustrations has set in. So the Dream Life broadcast is what I prayerfully want to make as my offering, along with my partner, Dr. Herman Pryor, to show you some tools that we've learned over the years to help you deal with that. This evening, there are three that I want to propose, and then I'm going to bring Dr. Pryor in here so that we can get this Dream Life party going. Number one, set SMART goals. What do I mean by SMART goals? Stated, measurable, achievable, written, and time bound. You must state what it is that you want. You must decide what it is that you want. It must be measurable. If you are going to lose 10 pounds, you better have something in your house to measure when the first pound comes off and when the second pound comes off. Because what is not measured is never, ever accomplished, right? Second, it must be achievable. Don't set that goal that you know yourself you can't reach, or as my grandma used to say, the way to eat an elephant, Stan, is one bite at a time, right? So you've got to do those things that you know you can achieve, and you must have it written. I was just talking to someone this afternoon about why they forget certain key things in their daily schedule. I asked him, where is it written? Whatever is not written is not going to happen, right? So everything is in my smartphone. Even the time I'm supposed to go to bed, Dr. Pryor, 10:30, it says, Eladio, rest, relax, and recreate, right? Because I know at 10 o'clock I need to get up because I need to be on the way at 4:30 in the morning, which is my regimen. The final thing, it must be time bound. Don't have open-ended goals. You know, one of these days, Eladio, I'm going to get that car I want. You know, one of these days, Eladio, I'm going to be an engineer. You know, one of these days, I'm going to graduate from college. No, it will never happen. It must be on December the 30th, 2019, I will finish my master's degree. So the first thing is set SMART goals. The second thing is dream forward. What do I mean by dream forward? You must decide. The most powerful thing a human being can do is decide. Decide comes from the Latin word deos and kaidir. Deos meaning to cut, kaidir means everything else. When you make a true decision and not just merely voice an opinion or state a wish, you cut off any other possibility. This is how it's going to be, and it's going to be this way if it takes my lifetime, right? So decide. The second thing is do not react, respond. Life is going to throw you some curveballs, but you as a God-enriched spiritually filled, highly intellectual, highly intelligent being must know how to respond. Do not react. Choose your actions. Be the captain of your own ship. The E in dream is for energy. If you are lukewarm about anything, it's not going to happen. In the best-selling motivational book ever, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, he said, people always achieve those things, Eladio, which were a burning desire. What are you on fire for? If you're not on fire for it and it doesn't have you excited up early in the morning, late at night, it ain't going to happen. You got to have some passion. And if you don't have your passion for your own dream, I don't know about that, right? So the energy's got to be high. You have to have a burning desire for something. The fourth thing, the A in dream, is action. You got to take action. I tire of people who are always getting ready, always getting set, but rarely ever go. 82 and a half years old talking about next week I'm going to start that project. Got to take action. You got to get to go. And finally, the M in dream is you have got to really, really make this a lifestyle change. It cannot be a mere fad. The reasons why people go up and down in diets is because it's a fad. It's a temporary thing. It's transactional. The only time you really do something is when you make a lifestyle change. I'm just going to change this. You know, it's interesting. I went to a place that a good friend of mine runs, a health center, and they help people to stop smoking. And she was saying to me that a lot of people stop smoking in a day. And then those people with all the plans and the stuff to stop smoking, you know, she has her more difficult time with them. She said some people just walk in, hear her lecture, she shares with them all of the devastation that does, and then just stop. They just go cold, just literally. Those people just turn the switch off and make a lifestyle change. The other people that's planning to plan, they're still struggling with, they got to go to the meetings, they need the support, somebody got to cry with them, somebody got to pray with them. But those people who know it's not transactional, you must make a lifestyle change. Final thing, we always have tools. A carpenter has tools, an electrician has tools, Brother Eladio, engineer, has tools like you, Dr. Pryor, a health and life coach, has tools. We all have tools. In my own life as a marketer and someone who's a client acquisition expert, I have tools. So I suggest that you can only smash through the ceiling of the goals that you set if you have smash tools. What do I mean by smash tools? You must use your spiritual gift more than anything else. Remember, you are a spiritual being having a physical experience on this earth. The M in SMASH is that you have mental gifts, right? The mind is the most powerful onboard computer that exists. Forget about anything in a laptop, in a tablet, or in a smartphone. Your mind can perform any kind of transaction, any kind of equation, light years faster than these devices that we hold in our hands or that we type into. So you have to use your mental gifts. Then you've got to use your actualization gifts. This physical body of yours is your vehicle here on this earth. Use your actualization, your physical gift. And then the S, again, you must use your social gifts. We weren't born alone. It does not matter how achieved and how accomplished you are, right? You must have a team. I know I have mine, and I thank everyone on my team that helps the Matthews broadcast do what it does. We are social beings. We need each other, right? So there are two things I can tell you cannot win at: war and economics. Require a team. The greatest basketball player, and I'm a big Michael Jordan fan, who ever walked this planet, labored for 7 years in the NBA with 0 championships, although during that time he made the all-defensive team, was the MVP 3 times, the scoring champion 4 times, but he could not get past Boston and Detroit because he did not have a team. And then voila, there was a Scottie Pippen. Voila, there was a Horace Grant. Voila, there was a Bill Cartwright. all of a sudden rings started to come around because even the greatest of all time needed a team, right? And the final tool is your harvest tools, right? Your financial gifts. All of us were made to harvest. For those of you who read the Bible, and I do so every day in my 1-year NIV Bible, there is a scripture that stays with me all time. It is 3 John and 2, and it says as follows, "Beloved, I pray above all things that you prosper just as your soul prospers." We are supposed to prosper spiritually, supposed to prosper mentally, supposed to prosper physically, supposed to prosper socially, and definitely supposed to prosper financially. Oprah Winfrey does not give in all of her generosity from lack. She gives from abundance. The brother who went to Morehouse last week and took on the responsibility for 40 years of those students' debt, he did not give, Robert Smith did not give from his lack, he gave from his overflow. We are here to prosper. So those are the 3 things that I want to offer tonight. Set smart goals, dream forward, and smash through barriers using your smash tools. I'm happy that I see so many of you joining us a little bit earlier today. I was mentioning to someone else that what Dr. Pryor and I want to do in this journey of Thursday night, in this Dream Life broadcast, we want to invite particularly young people to join us at 8 o'clock here at Everlasting Life in Capitol Heights for dinner. Just come by, bring your dream. All those things in your dream, even the problematic stuff in your dream. This man that's about to speak is an expert on turning dreams into reality. Come and sit down with us. If you just graduated, by the way, Jari, my youngest child, just graduated. Congratulations, honey. You're watching at home. If you just graduated and you need some direction, you got to talk to Dr. Pryor. If you have tried to implement your goals and your dream plan on your own, is just not going, talk to Dr. Pryor. If somebody told you that dream ain't worth nothing, you better leave that thing alone, boy. You need to go on and work at the post office. Stop trying to be an engineer, Ladio. Just go down to the U.S. Post Office. They always looking for people, right? Just brush that off, as Jay-Z would say. Get that dust off your shoulder and come on down here to Everlasting Life and see Dr. Pryor. And if fear has gripped you, that your goal is just so big and so awesome, you are the first person in your family has gone to college, you want to be a physician, and you're just afraid, it's okay, because you have a Dream Life expert here. So welcome to the Dream Life broadcast. For those of you who are not in Capitol Heights or near to reach out on us, thank you for joining us. Tune in, and if you have any thoughts about living your dream life, I want to know them. Go to my Facebook group that I've started. It's a private group. Just ask for an invitation and we'll let you in. But there's only one basis that you could be included in our awesome Inspire closed group. And that is, we want to know what are the secrets to your success. What's the secret sauce you use to live some aspect of your dream life. So Dr. Pryor, welcome. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
I know you've been traveling, and the floor is yours. There's already about 200 people that have joined us.
Awesome.
And
Welcome.
I know if anybody knows how to help them live the dream life, I've offered 3 thoughts.
You did.
And,
You did.
I want to share, allow you to share the thoughts that you have.
Well, Stan, again, thanks for having me join this platform with you. It's so important that we try to, one, honor the access to gaining additional knowledge beyond what we may know, particularly in the area of accomplishing the things that we aspire to. A lot of times on that journey, I'll back up actually a little bit and just kind of say those points that you gave earlier were powerful. We normally hear often, even in the career development world, that you want to have SMART goals. And SMART goals are awesome to have. They give you a platform, a framework. As Stan mentioned earlier, you can't materialize any wish that isn't built on a level foundation and a start. But I'm going to challenge those that are tuned in to think about their goals as being what they are, no matter where they are. Understand that you have that idea, passion, notion, energy, because it's not just a fluke, and charge those goals up to be smart dreams.
That's right.
All right, because you gave two great depictions and definitions of what SMART stands for and what DREAM stands for. I liked how you stated earlier, if those dreams aren't big enough, and don't scare you, you aren't in the right place in life.
That's right.
Because you're going to hear a lot of things often. We've heard you in your 30-something years, people have told you probably many different fables and stories about what you were supposed to be and what it was going to look like for you. But I'm sure at some level of control that you allowed yourself, you pursued and persisted because you knew that wherever that dream was going to go, it was real and it was there. And so my challenge, as we get started today, is just to start thinking about how you shape your mindset. That mentality in terms of what we can accomplish and acquire versus the reality of what the execution looks like. They're next door neighbors. There's no distance, no mileage actually between the implementation of a thought and idea versus its execution. The only thing is thinking and doing. It's really that simple, but we make it really, really hard. Now, we were talking earlier before we got started tonight about aspiring in life to become greater than we are, particularly through the lens and lanes of education. And I was given a story about how even me finishing up my doctorate degree, they didn't teach us in our educational studies or during our journey that you needed to have a rubric or a plan after you're done. Most of us pursue that for whatever reason. Some of us could be first generation students in our family.
Right.
Some of us could have actually saw ourselves as that entity. Some of us were inspired and motivated by other people in our village, as you mentioned earlier, and we went after it. And the ones who got done, we did that, but we spent most of our times doing it instead of building the pathway of what that next level was going to look like once we got out of it. And I think a lot of the self-inflicted feelings of failure, I'll say it like that, comes from the notion that the success was in the title and not in the time we needed to take to figure out our next. We talk about a dream life. We often get caught up in that title bearing, title seeking, and it's so disconnected from the reality of us knowing what we're worth. Taking a step back further, who we are.
Yeah.
We live in a society, you mentioned something earlier that was also powerful, being social beings and social entities, literally nowadays guided by social media.
Right, and I can tell you that identity piece, that image piece, right, is one of the earliest lessons that I learned from the two patron saints in my life, Benjamin Andrews, my maternal grandfather, and Beatrice Andrews, my maternal grandmother. I was born on the continent of South America 55 years ago in a country called British Guyana, now the Republic of Guyana, English-speaking country. And my mother and my father came to this country when I was 3 years old. My sister was 1. So for the next 5 years, until I was 8, I was raised by my maternal grandparents. And on this issue of image and identity, my grandfather said that is number one. And he gave me this little secret. He said, don't bother with what who other people say you are, not even your grandmother and I. Ask yourself the question, who does God say I am? So I was like, Grandpa, what do you mean? I don't have conversations with God. He said, no, but God's book is here, right? So he took me right to the Bible, and I will never forget this verse. The book of the beginnings, Genesis, chapter 1, verses 26 to 28. And it reads as follows, and many of you are my spiritual warriors, you know this verse very well. And God made man and woman in his likeness and image, and gave them authority to rule. So my grandfather said, there, son, that's who you are. You were made in the image and likeness of God, and at any time, anyone tries to diminish your identity in any way, say, no, 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 no. I'm a king's kid, made in his image and likeness, and whatever opinion you have, it does not supersede Genesis 26 to 28. So, I had my armor. I was like, hey, you can't tell me a thing, right? And so, I would offer to you as well, The secondary persons that my grandfather advised that you should listen to about your identity is only those who love you unconditionally. Those people's opinion counts. Your creator, what your creator has said about you, that opinion counts. But that kid on the street, that hateful friend, that hateful aunt or uncle, those are dream killers, not dream enablers. So you got to be careful about the opinions about your identity.
Well, you bring me to a great point in terms of that narrative, because I wanted to, I was asking myself a question while you were talking in terms of, why is that so hard for us to accept when it comes to our dream that we are made in the likeliness and image of God?
That's right.
And I think a lot of it has to do with the narrative in terms of what we believe. A lot of us are guided by our upbringing. That's the frontal image of our minds in terms of what brings us to the surface for aspiring things, thinking about who we are, thinking about accepting what people say we are, and going through day to day, just really trying to, again, identify. Most of us are operating in a space of never ending. And that space of never ending has no tags on any day. It's literally operational. I go to sleep, I wake up, I will aspire for the things that I can identify with, that I might see in my surrounding, and that's going to be good enough for me because I don't believe I'm supposed to be anything else, because that was never told to me. And then there's those who really adopt our dreams. It's just another space of part of our identity, where we not only alter the narrative, because we know, to your point earlier, that it is literally an identity point of power, not the narrative in terms of the story of who I'm supposed to become. We adopt that, we take that down the lanes that when we meet barriers, we use that as fuel to overcome them and actually accomplish what we set out to accomplish, even if we don't even know how we've done it. I've been there 1,000 times in terms of literally getting so crazy about my dream. We're talking about bigger than the stars out there, whether I have no resources, whether I have no support.
You still believe it?
I still believe in it because I think, you've seen the movie, and many of you out there have probably seen the movie Field of Dreams. One of the things, I probably watched that movie when I was about 10 or 11 years old. And one of the things about that film that always stuck with me, even as I was mapping out my path, how I was going to become an entrepreneur, was the line in that movie that stated, "If you build it, they will come." I've never forgotten that line. And I've tied that as a principle to anything I wanted to do in my life. That line didn't say, if you save enough money and tie that to step one, you'll get there. The line did not say, find 15 people that feel how you feel and they'll do what you say. The line did not say, well, wait 5 years. If it doesn't feel right, then you can make the move once you get the good feeling. The line said, if you build it, building part equates to what? Action. Meaning that you have to take the dream out of the mind. Actually, to your point earlier, write it down. Right. I always say, tell 3 people you trust, your loved ones, because now you become accountable for it.
That's right.
And after you actually build it, believe, sit. This new phrase for 2019 I'm in right now, I even tell myself all the time, is sit in it. Okay, sit in it. Give it time to either mature, nurture, develop, fail. You have to go at it again, because again, it will do what it needs to do if the faith is tied to it.
That's right.
All right? So that if you build it, it will come. All that remedy is saying, I believe, is be actionable about what you believe in, if you believe in it, one, and allow time for it to mature.
That's right.
Because Rome wasn't built in a day, not to be cliche, but that's another principle, as simple as it is, I stand on, because it allows me to see beyond myself. And many of you who are out there, you're in that space where you've had some successes, I'm sure, but you're frustrated about the ones that you want to be immediate because you haven't gained the practice of knowing how to sit in what you develop.
But I think one of the bedrock principles of having that strong identity and being able to stay in line with your dream, no matter what, against all odds, if you will, is that faith piece, that belief piece. There is, in Christian terms, those who are believers from the philosophy of Thomas, let me see your hands, and then I'll believe. And then there are others who believe yet have not seen. And so in the New Testament, we find Christ saying, blessed are they who believe yet have not seen, right? We hear faith is the evidence of things hoped for, right? Yet not seen. So, you know, it's a powerful thing, Dr. Pryor, when you can say, I know how this is going to turn out, no matter what it looks like today.
Let me tell you. Brother,
No matter what it looks like today.
It's a new space. You know, part of, the self-equity coaching is all about that. One part being accountable, two part being so crazy in your belief in what you stand on about that outcome you want, that it's just when it's going to happen, not will it. And, I can't tell you how many times I've said that. I've operated in that space to the point where I freak my wife out sometimes because, she goes back and forth about not being able to understand the misty tangibilities, as I call it, that are existing, even if it's not evident, where I'm in the space and I'm in the zone. And it's an awkward space for most because that is your true relevance of faith and your real connection and alignment to how whatever it is that you're supposed to be a part of, or whatever it is that's literally made for you in this world, in this life, that's trying to find you. That's how I state it. It's trying to find you because it's already written. You being open to that, or you literally putting your faith on the shelf, as I like to say, when it's convenient,
I call it energy alignment. And what do I mean by energy alignment? Every energy has its own frequency, right? So Dr. Pryor, this very night, if someone turned to CNN, they saw news. If someone turned to ESPN, they saw sports news. If someone turned to MSNBC, they saw financial news. If they turned to you and I, they saw a discussion about having a dream life. Whatever frequency you tune into, whatever energy, that energy becomes part and parcel of your reality for that moment, right? And so one of the things that I want you to try, when you wake up in the morning one morning, just jump around, spin around, have a praise party, celebrate something you were expecting that day as if it's already happened. Feel it deep in your core, like, yes, I know this breakthrough has occurred. I guarantee you start to find out one of the secrets I found out many years ago in my professional life. Your expectation and your reality live at the same address. The day that you wake up, oh, it's going to be a bad day today. Right? How many times have you heard teachers, wise teachers tell you, whether it's yes or no, you are right. Whether right or wrong, you are right, right? It's up to you. And so I believe that this thing called feeling, right? In the Hindu tradition, they talk about the chakras. And they say that the visionary, the conceptual chakra is above, between our ears, our mind. And the mid-level chakra, the heart, is where feeling comes from. And the lower level chakra, the lower levels, is where passion comes from, right? And so you've got to bring all three of those chakras together to get anything done. You've got to have that mental energy, which is cool, calm, logical. You've got that energy from the heart, which is passionate and warm. And you've got to get that energy from the lower parts of your body where you really get that force to go forward. And when you bring those three together, literally, you can make miracles happen. There was a story I was told about a woman, 97 pounds, that had her car break down on the side of the Santa Monica freeway on an embankment. She was with her 2-year-old child by herself. And someone up in the hills saw the car break down and saw the woman get out of the car and called 911 because they thought a terrible thing could happen because the car was on the downward slope, and if the car rolled backwards, it would be down into the valley and explode. So when the cops got there, the car was on level ground. And the cops were like, the person who made the 911 call said that the car was broken down, it was on the side of the hill. He's looking at this 97-pound woman, and he said, how, Eladio, did the car get back up on level ground? And the woman turned to the cop, serious as a heart attack. And she said, you see that baby in the back seat? That baby wasn't dying here today. That baby wasn't dying here today. How, family, my beloved family, how does a 97-pound woman push a 3,000-pound piece of metal uphill? To use her words, that baby wasn't dying here today. She had that superhuman
But I said,
inside her all
I said,
along.
let's translate that to layman's terms in terms of from that story to reality. It's the same thing about our dreams.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah. It's how much you invested.
Are
with
you
it.
that impressed or not with what it is for you to do that kind of action that's required for it to manifest? You know, that's the story right there that I would just, again, challenge everyone to ask themselves about whatever it is you're fretting about, whatever it is that has you aggravated or feeling stagnant or feeling like you're not a success or, you know, painting those images of inconsistency for you. What are you motivated or, as Stan's mentioned, excited about that's putting that type of fire in you to go that long mile, not the extra mile, the long mile to see it to fruition, whether it's in a moment that's necessary or the story you mentioned earlier about Jordan, if it's over a long period of time that's required. Because I believe you have the necessary things that you would do out of the act of what's now, and then you have the opportunity in terms of that requirement to learn, build, grow,
right.
so that you don't have to repeat the space again.
That's right. That's right. If you are, again, if you're stuck, if you're frustrated, if you're confused, we are asking you to join us here at Everlasting Life. We will be here every Thursday between 7:30 and 8:30. Our purpose for being here is to introduce you to Dr. Pryor so you can get on track and have a professional, highly accomplished accountability partner, your own personal cheerleader, that will be here to help you to realize your dream. I want to say on this night that I started off by talking about Martin Luther King, but just like every coin has two sides, I want to also celebrate Malcolm Little King, right? And many of you know him as El Haj Malik Shabazz. I call him Malcolm Little King because then that becomes MLK, and MLK, Martin Luther King, Malcolm Little King, right? We all know that Malcolm X's last name was not King, but he certainly behaved like one. That was his identity. And just like there's two sides to every coin, right? You cannot finish a conversation where you have mentioned Martin Luther King without mentioning his alter ego, Malcolm X, right? And so we celebrate Malcolm's birth, which was May the 19th, and we remember that he taught us many things. But my favorite is his definition of black nationalism. And what he said is black nationalism politically means we should control the politics of our neighborhood. Economically, it says we should control the economics of our neighborhood. And socially, it means that we should set the values and standards of behavior in our neighborhood, and then we should enforce them, right? And so we remember on this day, the 23rd of May, our shining black prince, as Ozzie Davis eulogized him and said, El Haj Malik Shabazz, may he rest in heaven, and we remember him on the day that we evoked his alter ego, Martin Luther King's name as well. Dr. Pryor, as we go out this evening, a young person who is in a dormitory somewhere and just doesn't think that they're going to get that degree, a mature adult who has more bills than money and is fearful that their family is not going to come to a good end. A very seasoned saint who is worried about grandchildren and children not making it and barely has anything to hang on in their own life. All three of them have their own mental and spiritual challenge. What would Dr. Herman Pryor say to all three? What is a way you can get all of them some leverage so that they can hang on, hold on, and then press forward?
I mean, this ride in life as far as achieving our dreams, it can be a scary one, but it can be a triumphant one as well. I would basically advise others the same way I would advise myself. You know, in all four of those paradigms, I see two things. I see the story in terms of what was told to them or what they acquired to start that journey, and I see the success and that outcome, because every start has a finish, whether it's a success or a failure. So I would simply tell individuals to ask themselves, why am I here? And then with that same courage I just talked about, answer that question because you know the answer. And again, this dream chase in life, the success acquirement, this failure debunking is all predicated on us being courageous enough to know our why. Because we know if you're on a journey trying to accomplish something, someone's told you something along the way that you believed. And so because you believe that, you have to stay at the course to ensure that you can commit and deliver on that outcome.
Well, I'm going to have to ask you, as we've got 5 minutes left here, about my why. You know, I've got a fourth child, Elijah, my man, my saint at home. Hey, Elijah, who has 2 more years left in school. And you know, the true north for me are those 4 people that I would give my life for in an instant without thinking about it, right? So my eldest, my Candace Joy, her brother Andre, my alter ego, Jari, who just graduated. That's my toy entrepreneur. This girl's got a get up hustle that you wouldn't believe. All 3 years in school, she would just be selling things that she made. Her creative instincts are just such. Listen, you're gonna hear about this young lady, Jari Matthews. You just watch. She's an unstoppable force. And you know, my scientist, my researcher, my engineer, Eladio, he wants to be a chemical engineer, Elijah. But Dr. Pryor, you know, 2 years from now, I'll be 57 years old. I have no idea. Like, I'm worried I won't have a why at that point that was as powerful as the why I've had for the last 32 years, because they were it, right? And so, you know, no price was too high. No journey was too far. No emotion was too deep to give to ensure that, you know, my blood, sweat, and tears were poured into those 4 children. The 4 of you know how much Daddy loves you. So, you know, 2 years from now, I'm like a little worried. I'm like, well, what am I going to get fired up about then, Eladio? Maybe vacations, right?
No.
I gotta find a why, man.
You gotta think, the seeds you've sown, man, and funny enough, you were having literally a social moment without realizing that you've put some good debts into this world that are going to bear fruit, and it's going to create a why for you. You've done the investment. Their extension is all about literally recreating new energy for you. Because you planted those seeds 30-something years ago. That's when you started. You
know, an author and I were talking today, and she said, Stan, I told her the same thing. She said, Stan, don't even worry about that. Your next why is grandchildren.
Pretty much. That's what you've created. You've already created it.
She was like, that's the next level.
Yeah. And you just be ready for what you ask for.
Yeah.
Okay? You're going to say, why not? Or why not today? Because they're going to give you what you need, because you started that with your firstborn.
That's right.
By sowing that seed to create the next leg for you.
That's right. Well, I was having a moment, Eladio, like, what do I do now? You know, I mean, I was just thinking about that the other day, you know, and I'm not a sitting on the couch type of dude, so I know I've got to look.
I sit around your wisdom every week, so you're going to pour it into the next leg of what it's supposed to look like 20 years from now.
That's right.
You're sowing those philosophical seeds into them that they will remember and say, Granddaddy Stan said, and that will be your why.
You know, it's incredible. You just mentioned Granddaddy, and you used my name. And how did I start tonight's broadcast? I said those 2 people who set the basis for these 3 tools I talked about was my maternal grandmother and my maternal grandfather. You know, those were the people who gave me, as the French say, my raison d'etre. You know, my reason for being.
That's
right.
It.
You know. And so give it up for grandparents on this day. I have to give a few thank yous to people who have made May the 16th that just passed. That was my birthday, a very wonderful birthday weekend. My hero, El Hajj Malik Shabazz, is 3 days after me, May the 19th. My sister, who is resting in heaven, May the 4th. A very special person to me. on May the 18th. One of my children, Jerry, is May the 2nd. So there's a whole lot of Taurian made up our minds, stubborn people. I want to say thank you to the best friend a man could have in the world, my friend of many, 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 many years, Anthony Moss. Could not be on this journey without you and would not want to. For all the people who gave wishes, best wishes to my daughter on her graduation, I thank all of you. As I said earlier, you cannot win at war or economics without a team. I see my team all the time in every one. This fellowship journey is an amazing journey, and it's all based on the foundation of relationship. JP Morgan Chase has many things wrong and has done many wrong things as a financial institution, but I love their marketing message. The right relationship is everything. And I have to say I have many right relationships. Dr. Pryor, you are one of them. Dorinda Walker, you are one of them. My homegirl from East Orange, just a dynamic marketing force, just turning branding upside down and being a blessing to so many people. You're certainly a blessing to me. And I could go on, but I don't want to get in trouble by naming too many people, because then the ones that I didn't get named, I'll have a bunch of phone calls tomorrow. Remember, folks, there are two types of people in the world: dreamers like you, Dr. Pryor, and dream killers. My recommendation each week is to embrace the first and run like heck from the second. If you want to get in contact with Dr. Pryor and I, we would like to see your dream plan, right? And so you can email me at Matthews, M-A-T-T-H-E-W-S, N as in Nancy, K as in King, at gmail.com. That's MatthewsNK@gmail.com, or you can call me directly at 732-357-5701. We want to know your plans. If you can't be here in Capitol Heights, email those plans. I will pass them along to Dr. Pryor. He is the expert here, and he will get back to you, provide you a free consultation, then a plan, and then you can decide whether or not you want to bless yourself and give yourself the blessing of having someone with his expertise as your personal life coach. So Dr. Pryor, if you have any last thoughts that you want to share with the audience.
I would just say people, my people, everyone's my people who's on a journey to be better. So just continue to practice what you know. Continue to search for the unknown, and continue to be everything that is waiting for you.
Everything.
Everything.
Everything. Well, the person who can help your everything come true just spoke. So with that said, I want to say to everyone that can hear my voice or see my face, good night and God bless. Remember what our poet laureate, the late great Maya Angelou, said to all of us: people may forget what you said, they may even forget what you did, but they will never ever forget how you made them feel. Make someone feel the way you want to feel. Remember, folks, your candle loses nothing when it lights another. Tomorrow, no, better yet, today, decide to dream forward. Live your dream life, and we'll be here to help you. Dr. Pryor is the guy for that. Good night, and God bless.